بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تابعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Tonight's juz is the 8th juz of the Qur'an, which starts in Surah Al-An'am and continues into Surah Al-A'raf. Surah Al-An'am and Surah Al-A'raf are very rich surahs because they have not just a lot of themes, but they have and they discuss very important issues that relate to human life. And this juz actually tackles a big issue that relates to man from the beginning of creation, that is the issue of Shaitan and the helpers of Shaitan. And it expands the concept of shaitaniyah, of being a shaitan, because the original meaning of shaitan, it means someone who has been cursed and sent away from the mercy of God. We actually use the word shaitan to refer to a rope that goes so deep into the water. So anyone who goes very far and very deep to another extreme is called shaitan, right? Even this stem, as Ibn Faris explains, the sheen and the ta, when they come together, it indicate a form of farthness and extremity. That's why the beach, which is the very end of the sea, we call it shati. So the word shatta, even shatta means to run away, even or to be extreme. Even spice, very burning spice, they call it in Arabic shatta. Because it's extreme, it has a burning into it, a burning flavor into it. So this theme of man's relation with shaitan, the concept of shaitaniyah, whether its individuals are actually jinn or humans, is tackled in this juz. Because the main job of messengers and prophets was to warn man against the traps of shaitan, saving man from falling into the traps and the pitfalls of Shaitan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us to seek refuge in Him from the cursed Shaitan, and to ask Him to save us from the paths of Shaitan. And the Qur'an has tried every possible way to warn us against the Shaitan, and this particular chapter, this particular juz, tackles this issue, that is showing how Shaitan is planning day and night, non-stop, since the creation of man, in order to deceive man, lead him astray, take him away from his main job in this world, the main objective, which is obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the juz starts by showing this image of an unending, very active cooperation between two types of shayateen. The shayateen amongst men and the shayateen amongst the jinn. The shayateen amongst humans, human shayateen, who are virtually shayateen, right? Because they do the same actions of a shaitan, and the shayateen amongst non-humans, the jinn. And this interaction between them in this ayah, وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَا لِكُلِّ نَبِيٍّ عَدُوًّا. We have appointed for every prophet an enemy. Because the job of a prophet is to save us from shaitan. So the opposite of a prophet will be the shaitan. The enemy of that job is the shaitan. So that is an enmity that started with Adam alayhi salam. جَعَلْنَا لِكُلِّ نَبِيٍّ عَدُوًّا. But the Qur'an here puts it in a very strange way, that this enemy is not just the shaitan, one shaitan. No, shayateen al-insi wal-jinn. The shayateen from men and jinn. What do they do? As if, and then the Qur'an takes us into this very active moment where it says, يُوحِي بَعْضُهُمْ إِلَى بَعْضٍ زُخْرُفَ الْقَوْلِ غُرُورًا. They are inspiring to each other the beautified words, meaning they are trying every possible way and inspiring each other to do horrible things. But if these horrible things are shown to be horrible, they wouldn't have done it. So they have to beautify it. They have to draw it in a very beautiful way so as to do it thinking that it is good, but in fact it is not. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says, وَلَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ مَا فَعَلُوا. If Allah wants, If Allah wills, they wouldn't have been able to do that. Allah could have invalidated all of this. But He has let this plague and this test run upon us human beings for a great wisdom. To see who is going to be strong and who is not going to be strong. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, to show what is hidden in the hearts of those who do not believe in akhirah. وَلِتَصْغَى إِلَيْهِ أَفْئِدَةُ الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْآخِرَةِ. That those who don't believe in akhirah, those who don't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, their hearts will find interest in that. They will listen to it, they will obey it. وَلِيَرْضَوْهَ. And then they will be satisfied with it. وَلِيَقْتَرِفُوا مَا هُمْ مُقْتَرِفُونَ. And they will commit what they are actually committing. So this scene of shayateen trying to inspire to each other, jinn shayateen inspiring human shayateen who come to the vulnerable, weak human beings who do not believe in akhirah, and therefore they are a very easy captive and a very easy target for them. They are willing to listen, so they listen, and they justify for themselves to commit all horrible things under the pretext of claiming that they are weak, but in fact they do not believe. And they accept this knowingly, and knowing that this is just fabrication, it is not genuine, and they leave, as the Qur'an says, and they accept this in place of the book of Allah, which is revealed in truth, and which is revealed in detail, and which tells them about Shaitan and his traps. وَلِيَرْضَوْهُ وَلِيَقْتَرِفُوا مَا هُمْ مُقْتَرِفُونَ أَفَغَيْرَ اللَّهِ أَبْتَغِي حَكَمًا. Shall I seek any judgment with anyone other than Allah? وَهُوَ الَّذِي أَنزَلَ إِلَيْكُمُ الْكِتَابَ مُفَصَّلًا. And it's He who has revealed this book in detail. And then moving from that to talk about a group of the helpers of shayateen, human shayateen, from the leaders of every city, the leaders of every city, who, driven by their willingness to cause corruption and manipulate people, they continue their corruption and they think that they are doing something good, but in fact they are in the service of Shaitan. And the Qur'an highlights the destiny of all of these individuals, those people, human shayateen, and those jinn shayateen, who have enjoyed this relationship and this cooperation in dunya. The Qur'an mentions that on the Day of Judgment, they will acknowledge that they have enjoyed the company of each other. وَيَوْمَ نَحْشُرُهُمْ جَمِيعًا يَا مَعْشَرَ الْجِنِّ قَدْ اسْتَكْثَرْتُم مِّنَ الْإِنسِ وَقَالَ أَوْلِيَاؤُهُم مِّنَ الْإِنسِ رَبَّنَا اسْتَمْتَعَ بَعْضُنَا بِبَعْضٍ. Those of the men who have the shayateen from the men, they will say, رَبَّنَا اسْتَمْتَعَ بَعْضُنَا بِبَعْضٍ. We have enjoyed the company of each other. Birds of a feather flock together. These individuals have enjoyed the company of each other in what was bad. Even in hellfire, they will say, yes, this is the destiny that we're in, but we had a good time with each other. We had a good time with each other. رَبَّنَا اسْتَمْتَعَ بَعْضُنَا بِبَعْضٍ وَبَلَغْنَا أَجَلَنَا الَّذِي أَجَّلْتَ لَنَا. We have arrived the time at the term which you have determined for us. Just as the grandfather of all shayateen, Iblis, says, أَنظِرْنِي إِلَى يَوْمِ يُبْعَثُونَ. Give me a term till the Day of Judgment. Let me enjoy my life in seducing people and misleading them and taking them astray. And on that day, I don't care what is going to happen to me. These shayateen, they actually, the Qur'an says that these shayateen, these jinn and min shayateen, they don't guide whoever befriends them to something good. In fact, they guide them to what is horrible. They actually cause them trouble. They even lead them to kill their own children. وَكَذَلِكَ زَيَّنَ لِكَثِيرٍ مِّنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ قَتْلَ أَوْلَادِهِمْ شُرَكَاؤُهُمْ لِيُرْدُوهُمْ. They have insinuated to them to kill their own children under the pretext of satisfying these gods and these idols, under the pretext of doing various things, but they actually causing them damage. And they actually insinuate also to them to slaughter their own cattle for the sake of idols, for the sake of stones. So they neither benefit from their children, nor benefit from their property, nor benefit from what they own. They lose it in dunya, and they meet their doom in akhirah. So they neither benefit in this dunya and they don't benefit in akhirah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says that they will slaughter their animals for the sake of these idols that benefit them in no way. Then the Qur'an warns the believers from following the footsteps of Shaitan. Because just following the footsteps of Shaitan will lead to destruction. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu la tattabi'u khutuwati shaitan. O you who believe, follow not the footsteps of Shaitan. And the Qur'an continues to say that it is Shaitan who insinuates to these criminals and tell them to commit all these atrocities. So he is the head of all criminals. And his way of doing that, that's the unfortunate thing, is not certainty. It is conjecture. It is dhann, filling their minds and their hearts with unbased, unfounded thoughts that are not based on genuine knowledge, that are not based on iman, that are not based on yaqeen. So they have no knowledge and they have no certainty. مَا لَهُمْ بِهِ مِنْ عِلْمٍ. They have no knowledge of that. إِن يَتَّبِعُونَ إِلَّا الظَّنِّ. They just follow conjecture. وَإِنْهُمْ إِلَّا يَخْرُصُونَ. And they are just thinking. They are just doubting. They live in doubt. And then the Qur'an continues to talk about the fruits of following the right path, the straight path, listening to the caller of Ar-Rahman, and that it leads to fixing the problems of the society, saving the society from all forms of indecency, saving the society from falling into adultery, from murder. The money is kept and preserved. All business transactions are set aright. Justice is spread and people are saved from riba. And on top of that, those who follow the path, the right path, and disobey Shaitan and his followers and his companions, they will have one aim. The reasons and the causes of unity of the heart, unity between their hearts, will be manifest in such a society, and they will have coherence in their march and their procession to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So their life, their death, and every affair that relates to their life will be moving in the one direction. While those who listen to the Shaitan, they will be scattered. They will have no one aim. They will not be focused in their aim. And then Surah Al-A'raf continues that by talking about the news, the story of the first Shaitan, the leader of all Shayateen, the father and the grandfather of all Shayateen, and what he did when he tried to mislead Adam alayhi salam, swearing to them that he is an advisor. وَقَاسَمَهُمَا إِنِّي لَكُمَا لَمِنَ النَّاصِحِينَ. He swore to them, I'm advising you, while in fact he was not advising them. He is la'in, he is cursed. The Qur'an mentions that to the children of Adam, reminds them of what has happened to their father, to remind them that you have a revenge, you have a retaliation with this Shaitan. So never listen to him. أَفَتَتَّخِذُونَهُ وَذُرِّيَّتَهُ أَوْلِيَاءَ مِن دُونِي. Are you going to listen to him and to listen to his progeny after all of this? Stay away from that, because the Shaitan and his helpers are just misleading you, as they have misled your great grandfather Adam and your great grandmother Eve. And then continues to talk about the people of Jannah, the people of fire, those who are now in Akhirah enjoying because they refuse the call of Shaitan, and those who are suffering because they have accepted the call of Shaitan. And then finishing the whole juz with some stories of people who have completely listened to the call of Shaitan and disobeyed the call of the Ar-Rahman. People of Nuh alayhi salam, people of Ad, and people of Thamud, and people of Madian, introducing to us a very long story of a Shaitan, but a human Shaitan whose name was Pharaoh. So the Qur'an concludes the juz by talking about how little Shayateen have opposed Nuh alayhi salam, how little shayateen have opposed Hud alayhi salam, how little shayateen have opposed Salih alayhi salam and killed his she-camel, and how little shayateen have opposed Shu'aib, and how little shayateen have opposed Lut alayhi salam. But one big shaitan that has affected the history of humanity and has left a remarkable traces in the history of humanity, that he has left his impact on humanity, that is Fir'aun. He is a continuation of Iblis. He is a loyal descendant of Iblis, and he is one of the shayateen that have been very well known in all times. So that will be, inshaAllah ta'ala, the introduction to tomorrow's juz, talking about Musa alayhi salam and Fir'aun and some parts of their story. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.